kad sam pametan. Dobrao. A si ti doma?
Ja.
A ti špilaš Ford zdaj? A špilaš kaj zdaj?
Ne, na YouTube sem na plejcu.
Ha?
Na YouTube sem na plejcu.
A ja, da prid Ford.
Zakaj?
Je tako malo, za fora.
Ne, sem mi daj igrati, stari.
A ja, okej.
Je prej do hangere danes.
Danes gremo tržeč jaz.
Zato bo te reč?
Z enimi gremo ven.
Pizdo mater.
Je pač z mano, a ne?
Ne da se mi.
Noč, ajde se ga.
Maj se ga.
Očima tvojim vidim varice. You open up that window. Mercy, yo, chicks need something. My love.
hoću sve na kocku bacim. U kazinu patim, hoću sve da vratim. I onaj after party, nekom smo bili sami. Pada stvari na god, bol, hod, bonton. Sve će biti pod tvom pronto. Non stop, rešavamo probleme sa vodkom. Kupila me sa još jednom golom fotkom. Kupila me sa još jednom golom fotkom. Kupila me sa još jednom golom fotkom. U ovoj sobi puno emocija stiže me. I posle sve toga htio samo da vidim te. U sobi puno dima tamo gde se pukuje. Daj mi još jednu šansu da pronašaš prve. Do sebe lomim se gorim, ipak ne zove me. Prebori skloni se, borim i kaže volim te. Nisi spremna da odeš, ja nisam spreman da odem. Ali ipak sve to je loše, ti smo u tami, moj Bože. Žepu milionera, fali ljubavi, rafali pucaju na ruže, u noćima fališ mi. Još jednom hoću da te čujem, da se zahvalim. Zbog tebe mogu sad da napišem još ovaj stih. Kocke leda u čaši, sipaj mi Hennessy. Sipaj mi puno do vrha, zbog tebe nema mir. I zašto sve što radim završi se kao vir. Potonula su jedra, ostaje samo dim. Bez tebe lomim se, gorim, ipak ne zove me. Preboli skloni se, borim i kaže volim te. Nisi spremna da odeš, ja nisam spreman da odem. Ali ipak sve to je loše, svetlo u tami, moj Bože. Žepu milionera, zafali ljubavi, rafali pucaju na ruže, u noćima fališ mi. Još jednom hoću da te čujem, da se zahvalim. Zbog tebe mogu sad da napišem još ovaj stih. Kafeje cëllosëm se vini e prazni. Rrugje super lave a dalje zhirim qasni. Qa goda do të knemja pretvorim u zlatë. Vidim me majko sa sheta stovim najko. Kafeje cëllosëm se vini e prazni. Rrugje super lave a dalje zhirim qasni. Qa goda do të knemja pretvorim u zlatë. Vidim me majko sa sheta stovim najko. Gledam kroz komfort, faca vas nervoza. Malu ti voz.
Păcaie, nu! E duma! Duma! Pocligica!
A major part of Red Bull's Formula One legacy will undoubtedly be its domination of the championship from 2010 through 2013. And while it's still searching for another title since then, there are many spectacular feats it has accomplished which its rivals simply come nowhere near. From demonstrations all over the world to hitching colour-coded caravans onto the back of Aston Martins at Zandvoort, Red Bull is F1's single biggest asset when it comes to taking the show to the people. And its most ambitious, crazy and sometimes seemingly impossible stunts take F1 cars to truly bizarre places. But which is the best? For the purpose of this list, we'll focus on the hardest to pull off and the most spectacular. That means excluding show runs. They're great, and they've wowed crowds in Almaty, Beirut, Belfast, Bogota, Bologna, California, Cape Town, Hanoi, Hyderabad, Muscat, Santiago, St. Petersburg, Tokyo, Vienna, and many more. But donuts in the street simply don't hold a candle to the entries here. Even an airstrip run with a fighter jet and a salt desert challenge didn't make this list. Let us know your favourite in the comments below, and remember to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. But for now, let's dive into the 12 craziest things Red Bull has done with an F1 car. Okay, we're sort of breaking a rule here straight away, because this is technically part of a show run, but it was so much more than just locking off a small part of road and burning some rubber. That this particular show run wasn't just confined to those traditional elements is what sneaks it onto the tail end of our list. David Coulthard, who you'll see several times in this video, branch has him being chased by a car, a quad bike, horses and a helicopter, and bonus points if you spot the failed attempt from one rider to lasso the car. Red Bull likes to use older generation cars for show runs because of the V8 engine's durability, but even this engine has its limits, which were tested in the Canadian winter. In temperatures of -10 Celsius, Red Bull's biggest problem here was avoiding the axles freezing and locking, so the priority was to keep the cars warm instead of cool. Sebastian Buemi was tasked with controlling the RB5 on ice, aided by specially produced tyres, with a run across a frozen lake and then a circuit that was mapped out loosely on the Montreal F1 track. It's not unusual for Red Bull to be able to briefly take over a major city, but when that city is New York, it's already a little different. And when it involves clocking nearly 200 miles per hour in the Lincoln Tunnel, you see why. This is on the list and why it places quite highly. 1 year after their dirt track exploits in Austin, Red Bull and Coulthard returned to America to promote the 2012 USGP and the F1 street track in New Jersey that was slated to be used the following year. Presents. In 2018, Red Bull's F1 road trip concept evolved into an absolute monster. San Francisco, Monument Valley, Las Vegas, the Rocky Mountains and Miami Beach. It was truly worthy of the road trip name. The lengths Red Bull went to for this were intense. The desire for sunrise and sunset shots meant days sometimes started at 4 AM and ran until midnight, and in between there were still plenty of locations to hit to get the footage, and operationally Red Bull sends a very small crew. There were also specific challenges to deal with on the car side. Jacking up the ride height wasn't enough for the beach running, as the coarse surface was like running on sandpaper and shredded the tyres. All in all, this was a massive undertaking from Red Bull, and put an F1 car in not just one unusual place, but many. It would feature further up this list, but it gets docked a couple of places because although it's presented as Ricciardo and Max Verstappen, Patrick Friesacker is doing the driving, and we're a stickler for authenticity. 2 title-winning Red Bulls and months of work were required to realise 4 days of filming in which Verstappen and teammate Alex Albon travelled to Zandvoort via windmills, shipping containers, a greenhouse, the Netherlands seat of government and a beach. Temperatures were just over 0 degrees in January, and it was so cold when they were filming the scenes in Rotterdam Port that one of the starter motors broke and then the backup packed it in as well, so they had to craft a replacement quickly on site. Other parts of the road trip encapsulated a variety of the normal problems on these kind of events, including overheating while running at low speed, crowd control, and checking roads for potholes and welding down manhole covers. Rain. It's the sheer quantity of tricky locations and the challenges that had to be overcome that put Red Bull's most recent exhibition so high on our list. It's been almost a decade since La mountain pass, and the reduced air intake for the engine, down around 20%, meant the car was barely keeping alive. But Yanni coped well despite the first snow of the season falling and a road that was so potholed that the final few kilometres had to be abandoned and completed on the back of a truck. But given that happened at around 18,000 feet, we'll let it slide and afford the Himalayan heroics a similarly high place in our rankings.
Inovacija Triflex HX1. Doživite hitrejše globinsko čiščenje s posebej široko električno krtačo, ki se avtomatsko prilagodi različnim talnim oblogam za večjo površino v krajšem času. Novi Miele Triflex HX1.
To celebrate the latest release of the new Destiny 2 Beyond Light expansion.
Ja nisam baš čovjek, daje to njega. brate, kako je ne, mrti. Jebeš ovaj život i sve, sve u kurac, i dalje imam pare. Sve u kurac, da me kurva voli. Sve u kurac, brate, sve u kurac, brate, sve u kurac. Jebeš ovaj život i sve, sve u kurac, i dalje imam pare ili ne. Sve u kurac, da me kurva voli ili ne. Sve u kurac, brate, sve u kurac, brate, sve u kurac. I tako prolaze mi dani, šta radim, ja samo brate varim i varim. I ponekad poželim da odavde palim, al mi treba keša pa se nazad vratim. I onda brate shvatim da dovoljno sam veliko, a znanja da platim. Bude mi teško pa izlaz tražim, sa vucom se budim i sa vucom tražim.